She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks so much for joining us. Today, you're going to be totally inspired when you meet two people that their stories are going to shock you. Why? Because you need that. Listen, you cannot stay the same, and you cannot settle for status quo, and you also cannot settle for what society has tried to sell you what success looks like. Joining me today is Mary Walther, as well as Mary Starr, Dr. Mary Starr. These two women have had a massive transformation and have had incredible success in where the areas of which needed to be successful. They have redefined success for them as mothers, as wives, as a financial person, as even entrepreneurs. So please help me welcome Mary Walther right here in the studio, who is also a new member of our team here at DaniJohnson.com. So here we bring Mary Walther. Thanks so much for being in the studio with us today. Okay, so when you first heard about DaniJohnson.com, where was the condition of your life?
Oh, wow. So it started, I was a mess. We were newly married, just a new mom. Mm-hmm. My friend was like, come get your business better with me. And I was like, okay, fine. So I was partying like it was 1999 every day. I was going out with friends. I wasn't taking care of the house. I was a mess. I was basically ignoring the real things that were in my life and just drinking them away and partying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what drove you there? Like, why were you doing those things?
Well, it started in college. Mm-hmm. And I used drinking and partying as a way to it was fun. It was what to do. It was a thing. It was popular. And so I used those college lives to just carry on into my normal life.
So it's like a habit that started in college,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So if this is your first time joining us here on the Dani Johnson Show, once a week, we interview somebody who has been a part of our community. We have a really super supportive community. And Mary went through a pivotal experience at a First Steps to Success. And so prior to getting started with us or even hearing about us, you just heard about where she was in her life. What was the marriage like between you and Jake?
If I had to sum it up in one word, it would be just ignoring. We were just living together.
You were like newly married and you're ignoring each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was that like?
So we would just wake up and be like, hey, what's up? There was no respect. There was no communication. There was no intimacy. I mean, honestly, sex was recreational. It was great, but there was no connection.
Wow. Okay, and then so you guys also had a business together,
yes.
right? You have a restaurant together. It's like, the two couples, right, and the parents that own this. They have an amazing restaurant. It's really awesome. I love the styling of all of it. So you guys worked together also. So what was that working relationship like?
Oh, I was terrible. I would slander his name in front of customers. I would tell him that he's lazy, that he was a bad person.
And he's so not lazy.
I know. I know.
Wow. I mean, because he also owns a landscaping business on the side. He actually did some landscape work by my house. This is actually how I met you guys.
He was amazing. I was just
like, what
nasty.
would you say? What would you say? Like, if you're saying you're slandering him in front of employees, what did that look like?
Yeah. So Jake would come up to me and direct me because
he's your boss.
He's my boss, right? And instead of respecting him, I'd be like, ugh, fine. And then to the customers, I'd be like, really? Like, he talked to me that way? Nasty. Nasty.
Like, the customer was seeing this.
Terrible. Yes. Thank you for restoring my life.
This is so amazing. Yeah. Okay, because many of us have seen this before, right? And then here's what happens is that people go, I don't know what's wrong with my business.
There you go.
And we also talk about this a lot, that when the marriage is a mess, everything else is a mess. The finances are a mess. If the marriage it has no intimacy, and it's not just about sex, but it's like communication.
Exactly.
Right? There's that deep communication where we can actually argue about something and not like run and hide, or that we can actually hear somebody else's perspective. And so here on the Dani Johnson Show, this is about you defining success for you. And as I open the show, Mary maybe had a different definition of success prior to coming to First Steps to Success, and that was drinking, partying with your girlfriends.
Fun.
fun, even as a married woman
Yes.
with a child.
Yes.
This was Mary's definition of success. And so you kind of had a wake-up call and realized, wait a second, that's not success. But what were the things that you worked towards?
After?
Yeah.
Oh, well, so when I got home, I immediately apologized to my husband. I just asked for forgiveness.
What did you say?
I looked at him and I said, because I drove, so I spent an hour in the car, okay, you can do this. So I looked at him and I said, Jake, will you please forgive me? I've been nasty to you. And I named all the things that I wanted to be forgiven for.
Go ahead, say some.
And
like
slandering your name, calling you lazy, calling you names, putting you down in front of people, putting you down in front of our daughter, not respecting you, not honoring you, not doing the things that I knew that you loved around the house, just avoiding you, ignoring you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you not do the things around the house on purpose to get back at him?
Oh, yes. And then I would hold sex as contempt. I would say, if he didn't do the things in my eyes that I felt was right, like, oh, you didn't do this good enough, you don't get any tonight.
Ooh.
Nasty.
That's straight up manipulation. And you know what? That's in a lot of people's marriages.
Yeah.
A lot of people's marriages are like that. A lot of women will not give their bodies and give intimacy to their husband, and they penalize them. They withhold it, hugging the side of the bed. But did you literally say those things?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, you wish.
Oh, my God. And you were a newlywed.
I know.
Okay, this is crazy. This is amazing.
So far.
No, you have. This is
Yeah.
amazing. I'm so proud of you. So what did he say when you got, was he shocked?
Yes, this man he without hesitation said, of course, I forgive you.
And so then what changed right away? Was he,
Okay.
but was he surprised? So he said, yes, of course I
well,
forgive you.
when I told him...
Were you crying when you said this?
Yes. And when I told him I was going, I thought it was going to be a business seminar. And he was like, okay. So he came back and he was like, expecting me to do facts and figures. What do you learn? So when I hit him with this deep emotional marriage things, he was just shocked. And he was like, of course, I forgive you. He's so gracious. And and that was, he's never held that over my head.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he fully released
forgave
you.
me. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mary, that's a blessing because that doesn't always happen.
Yeah, I know.
No, seriously, what a good man that you have.
He's amazing.
So the things that you were attacking his character about and manipulating with, and I'm so proud of you that you're so secure with yourself that you could actually even just say all this. Because there's women listening right now who've done the same exact thing. I used to be that way to Hans. I was terrible. I didn't withhold sex. Well,
Yeah.
because I'm a crazy woman. But no, I definitely hugged the side of the bed many times. It's don't even think about it, right? And for the stupidest things, which is ridiculous. But I'm really, really proud of you that you're secure enough with yourself that you can actually talk about this. Because this is new. This is back in 2015.
This is 2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago this happened. Okay, and then what happened at home right away? What did you start doing?
So right away, I went through all my junk and I realized I had 5 throw blankets. I was spending money on crazy crap. I had pillows. I mean, I just looked at all the crap in my home and I was like, this is abuse. I cleaned everything out. I started saving. I immediately started cleaning the house. He likes an organized, neat space to be at home. So I immediately started making that happen for him, respecting him enough to do that for him. And that's where it snowballed.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had seen a post that you made on Facebook, and I think the reason why you were in my news feed was because you're friends with some of my friends.
Right.
And so you showed up on my Facebook feed, and it was you with a picture, and it was right after First Steps, right?
Yes.
And you had said, because I had heard that one of the owners of Pint and Plow was going to be at First Steps in San Antonio, which, by the way, we got First Step Success coming up January 19th, 20th, and 21st in San Diego, California. There's a few seats left available for you to be able to get there, and actually there's even less of our fast track seats, meaning our VIP seating, so that you're not in the nosebleed section. It's a completely different experience in the back of the room than it is in the front of the room. But nonetheless, so we were in San Antonio. I heard that you were there, and it was because I have, my daughter actually eats at your restaurant and knew who you were, so Issa and Peter. And so anyway, so I had seen the post that you had made about, in fact, you had taken a picture with everything a mess behind you. Yep. And it was something to the effect of, I have been so irresponsible. Yes. And I have to make some major changes. And you said, and I've been such an ungrateful wife, and I have spent money so foolishly. It was something along those lines was the Facebook post, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like, so, first of all, to be that transparent even in social media.
Well,
takes courage.
Yeah.
Takes amazing courage.
Help someone that's
struggling through the same thing. Yeah. So how much debt have you paid off?
So I just realized, I thought it was $30,000. It's $90,000 in debt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Student loans, a car, a house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And it starts small. So whenever I hear these
in 2 years, $90,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whenever I hear these stories, I'm like, how would anyone do that? It starts with little things. Food.
Yep.
Not wasting your money on candles and crap for your house that you don't need to clutter your house with anyway. I mean, it's tiny steps. And then now.
Wow. Over $90,000. How does Jake feel about this?
Oh my gosh. Well,
especially him, right? Because he cares about the finances being in order and the house being in order.
Stressed.
Really?
Yes. Which just is amazing. I mean, I don't have to worry about him coming home stressed or, you know, he's a great daddy. He can focus on me. He can focus on him. He can focus on our house. He can focus on businesses. I mean, and now I take pride in knowing that I'm a part of helping him succeed at work.
Yes, yes. And he has 2 very successful businesses and he's amazing at it. So I just want to tell you from your husband's perspective, because I know Jake and we've actually hired him for landscape stuff and he's helping us with a new project. And he's spoken highly of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when I first met him, and I didn't know it was him, and I didn't know the connection at all, but he had, like, after I had interviewed him for the work, and then he tells me, yeah, you know, my wife went to First Steps. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hate it when that happens. I hate it when that happens, man.
You're like, great.
You know, because like I'm in a bathrobe or I'm in my workout clothes or something like that. You know what I mean? It's a time of day where I haven't gotten ready for Hans to come home yet. So I was like, yeah, you know, my wife went to, and by the way, she's like paid off all this debt, and I'm like, oh, wow, no way, this is amazing. That's really, really amazing. Yes. So, wow, this is like amazing. And your daughter is gorgeous. He came to the house actually with Willa. Willa. What an amazing name, right? Come on, Willa. And she really is a cross between the two of you. She really is a cross between the two. She's absolutely beautiful. But anyway, I want you to think about what you would say to that wife who is doing the same thing, right? And when we continue back from the short break, I just want you to speak to that woman who has found herself in that very empty place where you were. And I also want you to spend a minute talking about how did you get there? Because it wasn't just college. Like, what happened before that? How did you think about you? How did you see Mary? And I want you to ask yourself that question too. If you're in a place you don't want to be in life, how did you get there? Because if you find out how you got there, then you can get away from there. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Does Mary's story sound familiar? Well, when we come back, Mary will share the key she used to get breakthrough in her life. It's coming up on The Dani Johnson Show. More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org. I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, Do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job Domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. So what's keeping you stuck? It's time to get it out of your way for good. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
So we have in studio with us Mary Walther. She's one of our very own. She was a part of the supportive community because of a pivotal experience she had at a First Steps to Success. Mary was one of those wives who was emasculating her husband. She was telling him what a loser he was, disrespecting him in front of their employees inside of their restaurant. Putting him down at home, putting him down at work, pulling sex away from him, just like, nope, not tonight. No, don't even think about it because of something maybe that she thought he didn't do right or whatever expectation that I'm sure you didn't even tell him what the expectation was. No. The expectation was in between your 2 ears. So she's paid off $90,000 worth of debt after putting into practice the tools and the strategies that she learned at First Steps to Success. And so what I asked her to do coming into this segment was to think about, okay, how did you think about yourself that then, in college drove you to drinking and all the other crazy stuff that you were doing, that even after you were a newlywed, you're still drinking, you have a 2-year-old, you're still drinking, you're still partying, you're still going out with your girlfriends and partying like it's 1999, like you said, which I thought it was so funny. But tell me, like, how did you see Mary back then that kind of drove you to that kind of life?
So growing up, I was always... everyone gave me the label of, well, you're just a pretty face. You're not very smart. You're never going to be anything worthwhile. Failure was huge on my heart because
How so?
I thought
what do you mean failure?
I thought I was going to fail at everything. I was terrified to try anything because I was like, I'm going to fail at it immediately. So it was just so detrimental mindset. I just let everyone's words take over my life, and I hid it underneath the alcohol because I was fun.
Yeah. So your definition of success back then was fun, but was it fun?
No, it's terrible. I wasted hours and days of our newly married life laying on the couch, hungover, disgusting, begging my husband, please get me a Gatorade, please get me chicken nuggets, help me. And finally he was like, you know what, I'm not. He's so sweet. He's an enabler. Mm-hmm. He loves me. Mm-hmm.
And you were 60 pounds overweight.
Yeah. Drinking.
Exactly. And think about all the money that you spent from all the drinking and all the partying with your girlfriends. Yeah. So you ended up with $90,000 worth of debt. Yeah. You've paid it all off.
I was fat.
You were 60 pounds overweight.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's possible.
It is possible to succeed.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you say to that woman right now who is actually watching this on television, or she's in her Facebook feed right now, or she's on YouTube and she's in that same place? She's hungover.
Yeah.
On the couch. Talk to her.
There's hope for you. I'm emotional because I remember being there. You're not alone. You're not helpless. Find something that is small that you need to change and just start changing it. That's all. Everyone asks, what's the secret? What's the secret? It's not a big secret. It's having the tools to make your life better and then doing the things. Do the things. You know in your heart. Forgive. deep in your soul, you know the solution, and stop hiding from it. Yeah, because that's what's freedom.
You were recently in Las Vegas with your husband.
Yes.
And you made a post on Facebook about that, and you took a picture of a cup of tea.
Yep.
And you had the courage to tell the story that she's alcohol-free.
Yeah.
And she kind of kept that from the social media community, if you will, and she just came right out and said, I've got to tell you something. I've been an alcoholic, and I've been hiding it, and I'm in Las Vegas, and this is a big day to celebrate, right? I'm having tea while I'm in Las Vegas. And were you still having fun?
Yes. I was laughing, watching football, enjoying conversation with my husband, remembering the conversation.
Right.
I mean,
remembering.
Right. Not blacking out.
Yeah.
Not being that person. And it's so funny because I would walk down the casino and just see all these, like, wasted people and be like, that was me being ridiculous. Being a ridiculous person.
Wow. So listen, if you want the results that Mary has now received, and you want to walk in the kind of life that she's walking in, right? Paying off $90,000 worth of debt in 2 short years, having a marriage completely restored, being an honorable and respectful woman to her husband, setting the right example for her 2-year-old daughter, no longer being hung over on the couch begging for chicken nuggets and a Gatorade, okay? If you want those kinds of results, go to DaniJohnson.com right now. Do what she did. She went to First Steps to Success. Click on events. First Steps to Success, San Diego. Don't wait. Your life depends on it. You don't know what's going to happen next. But here's what I do know. You can make sure it's a massive change in the right direction. And you'll be able to grow your finances, pay off your debt, restore that marriage, and no longer feel alone, but be a part of a supportive community that's going to help you to succeed. Mary, thanks for being here on the show with us today. Appreciate you. Yes. We'll talk to you in a minute.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. Stay right here for more of The Dani Johnson Show.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
My name is Mario Johns. I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I just want to share with you on April 14, 2013, that was the first day I heard the name Dani Johnson. And I was so inspired by her story, and I just had to find out, you know, how did she go from homeless to millionaire? And it was just so inspiring to me. So I went on DaniJohnson.com, and I started getting the daily emails, the daily fixes. And then after a while, I just stopped reading them for some reason. And August of 2013, it was 4 days before my first event. After work, I went on YouTube, and I typed in Dani Johnson's name, came to my mind, so I typed it in on YouTube, and I sat at my kitchen table for about an hour and just listened to testimonial after testimonial. And I was just so inspired. I'm like, I have to get to this First Steps to Success. And I had no money. I didn't know how I was going to get there. But the funny thing was, a week prior to this day, I got a credit card in the mail that I never asked for. It was a $1,200 credit limit. I was going to cut it up, but I figured I'd save it for like the emergency. I got my event ticket, my flight, and my hotel room. I maxed that sucker out, and I came down to Dallas, Texas. And the first 3 hours of the first day, I was just like in tears the whole time. I was just so blown away. It was something that I was just so hungry for. And prior to plugging in, I was a depressed hopeless, suicidal drug addict. I hated myself. I hated life. I hated other people. I felt like a slave to debt, and I actually accepted debt as part of my life. I had toxic relationships, and I was, and since plugging in, I've been drug-free for 15 and a half months now. I paid off over $13,000 worth of debt in a little over 13 months. I've completely restored my relationships with my family, my friends. I have amazing friends today from around the world. I love my life, and this is just an honor to be up on this stage. But if I just want to say, if you're new here, one thing that I wish I did is one of my favorite products is War on Debt, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't been following that as like I should be. My first event, if I got War on Debt and followed that with diligence, today I'd be debt free. So I just want to encourage you, if you're new here and you have debt, I highly recommend getting that, because that's by the end of this year I want to be debt free, and that's my goal. So please help me welcome back to the stage America's favorite millionaire, Dani Johnson.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Wow, I know you were totally crazily touched by Mary Walther's story, right? Dang, so convicting, so powerful. Well, get ready, because I'm going to introduce you to my friend. Her name is Dr. Mary Starr. Dr. Mary Starr has been a family friend for about 10 years now. She's also a client. She's a professional, obviously, and she has had a massive transformation in every area of her life. Mary, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be with us today on the Dani Johnson Show, which, by the way, I know you have faithfully watched for years.
Yes. Thank you, Dani. Thank you so much.
So let's talk about all the way back in 2007 when you and I first collided. And it was a business environment where the collision happened. But where were you in life at that point?
Oh, my goodness. I was a burned out workaholic. Constantly just spinning my wheels, worked like a dog for years, yet my business was just flatlined. $250,000 in debt, and we owned nothing, Dani. Drowning $1,000 more in debt every single month. My marriage was lifeless. I had no faith in my life. We had no kids. We couldn't talk about money without a yelling and crying match. It was pretty miserable. I'm very empty. Very empty.
So when you say that you and your husband, Jay, would, whenever you talk about money, it'd be a fight. Can you remember some of the words? Come on, let me in on the juice of the fight.
Okay. Well, I remember we would avoid it for quite some time, and then it would come up because we'd be overdraft in the account, and I'd have to come and tell him, that we had $300 worth of charges this month, and he would first turn green and then turn red, and then start to yell, and I'd be already defensive, and tears be running down my, and I would yell, and he would yell back.
But what would you be saying when you're yelling at each other?
Goodness.
Come on, say it.
Blaming each other. How could you do this? How can we make this much money? We were making good money, like $8,000 a month in our business, in our lives, and just how can we do this? We own nothing. Our apartment rent was $425. So it's how can we blow $8,000 a month?
Your rent was $400 a month. You're making $8,000 a month, and you've got $300 a month in charges because of overdraft fees.
Yeah.
And you were going $1,000 a month in debt every month.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
Okay, now hold on, because you know the Dani Johnson Show is about defining success for us, right? So what definition of success were you following?
Kind of this dream in business, like if we make a lot of money, we're going to do it. And I mean, literally we would play games like, okay, now 8,000, now 9,000, 10,000, like thinking more money was the answer to all our problems. And more money, we're going to get this house. I remember cutting out pictures of like giant houses and cars and dream boards and things like that. And it was like, I think
So your definition of success was make more money to solve my financial problems. And your expenses, literally $400 a month for rent. Obviously, your apartment electricity bill couldn't have been that much if your rent was only $400, right? Yep. So you were just blowing money like crazy. What were you blowing money on?
Well, actually, it was a little different than most people. I did travel a lot to go and train. I was like constantly training my team, my sales associates, and my business. Like going all the way to Florida and back. I would take them on vacations. People would only done maybe $1,000, $2,000 in new sales a year, and I would take them to like vacations in Orlando and Disney World. And if I found out someone had a need, their car broke down, I would like pay for it to get fixed. I totally didn't put my family first or our future first. Everyone else was ahead of us.
Wow. So your priorities was making everybody else happy, and you were putting yourself into debt $1,000 a month. So you said you had no faith. So what do you mean by that?
I really, I grew up in the church, I guess you could say, but I lost that along the way. I was in my business. I was involved a lot in a lot of metaphysical things. I would go to psychic shows and different things like that. And I was searching, and I was looking to everyone else, like people, for answers. Literally, my wedding, I had a pagan wedding. It was so weird, and my husband loved me and just went along with it. And I had nothing until I got plugged in to some of Destiny Global's trainings. It was
Destiny Global, DaniJohnson.com. The event was First Steps to Success.
Yeah.
So you came September of 2007, or is that when we met at your corporate conference that I actually spoke at?
Yeah, my first event was right before that, August, Atlanta, 2007.
Okay.
And I remember by the second day, my husband and I, we just looked at each other and we're like, oh my gosh, this is the answer to all our problems. We started implementing just 2 of the tips we learned at that, Dani. And there was so much peace and passion back in our marriage and our lives. It was incredible. And literally a couple months later, we consistently started to train with those First Steps events. And that's when I found my savior and healer and everything. Yeah.
I will never forget that night seeing you there. Honestly, I remember it like it was yesterday. And I love it when God points someone out to me. And that to see where our lives have come in 10 years is like so amazing.
Yeah.
Really, like so amazing. Like every once in a while I'm in a crowd of people, whether it's 1,000, 1,200 or 500, well, no matter. And just someone gets highlighted, and you were one of those that got highlighted. And it was on that Saturday night during a spiritual equipping, and tears coming down your face, like almost uncontrollable. Like you were just weeping and weeping and weeping. So right away you started implementing things that completely restored that marriage. Your sex life was hot, and you guys were in love again and communicating better. And then what began to happen in your finances?
Oh, wow. Well, like I said, consistently training for 2.5 years. With those live events, we paid off over $100,000 in debt. My husband increased our household income by $30,000, getting raises and promotions at work.
Wow.
It was just we could have budget meeting without screaming at each other. It was like peace came back into our home. It was amazing. We got pregnant. Had our first baby. So
Yep.
yeah.
And now you've got 2 babies, and now
Yes.
your business has exploded.
Oh yeah.
Has exploded. In fact, let's just talk about this year alone. Right?
Wow.
Because you've been to more than 50 first steps or something like that, right? You are one that just has fed off of this training system, because First Step Success is a training system. You know, some people think, oh, it's just one of those rah-rah events. That's the last thing it is, actually. I think it's really funny when people go, oh, are you one of those motivational speakers? Nope.
No.
It's a result of what I do, but I am absolutely not a motivational anything, to be honest with you. And here's why. There's hidden potential inside of every single living person. And simply what First Steps to Success does in that 3-day event, it uncovers what is hidden. And people begin to discover how they got to the place that they're at, whether it's that, $250,000 worth of debt, it's the lifeless marriage, it's the lack of faith, if they've gotten to the place where now they're severely overweight, if they're in that place where they're hating their spouse and hating their business and hating their job, or they literally are living a life that's actually hurting them financially. First Steps to Success helps to uncover where that's happening from. And then you discover who you really are. And you discover what your strengths and abilities are. And you discover even what those weaknesses are that are holding you back, and how to cover those weaknesses. So you don't live in the weaknesses, but you live in your strengths. And you discover some simple communication skills that 5-year-olds know how to use and do use when they've come through the training events as well. And then, of course, the financial part and the business communication skills and how to motivate a team and all of that stuff. So it really is an uncovering of dormant potential, and then a discovering of who you really are and what your place is here in the earth and how to be able to reach your destiny. So when we continue here in just a few minutes, Mary's going to share with us what has happened to her now, just in this last year, because Mary has used First Steps to Success and Creating a Dynasty, which is our advanced leadership conference. She's used that to train her people, her team, her coworkers, the people that are associated with her business, even customers. She has reached out to family members and have had communities of people come along with her. In fact, Mary, I want you to think about it when we're taking the break. How many people do you estimate have come through First Steps to Success and Creating a Dynasty because of your influence, because you talked to someone who told someone, right? Introduced somebody. You think about all the family members, even the teenagers that have been brought through those events. Think about how many estimated that you've brought through there, and as a direct result, what is happening in your business, and not only that, what's happening in their lives. How much debt has been paid off because of your influence, of the people that you have influence with. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Coming up next, Mary made a simple change in her mindset, and you won't believe what it did to her income.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was working 60 to 75 hours a week. I was completely stressed out. I was incredibly angry with my husband. We were in over $350,000 worth of debt. By applying the strategies that Dani teaches, in the last 3.5 years, we have paid off $170,000 in debt. We are no longer roommates, and we no longer spend every single cent that we make. We now have made tens of thousands of dollars in passive income in investments. We are on the right track. We're traveling around the world together, and we are building homes for those who really need it. So I don't know about you, but if you want to cut back from 60 to 20 and 30 hours a week, if you want to mend some relationships, if you want to make your life more efficient and a lot more fun, and you want to be the best version of you, I highly recommend that you get registered because your life is about to change.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, first steps to success in creating dynasty, my wife and I were really lost. We were struggling in a relationship. We were struggling financially, drowning in debt. Our relationship was really broken. We were in a bad place. We were living in two completely different states and not really honoring each other. Once we got plugged into the community, we noticed a shift in our lives. Most importantly, we came together as a husband and wife. That was the first thing we did. And when we finally came together under the same roof, things started to change. Over the past 3 years, we've been able to pay off over $495,000 in debt. I know in my business, I've had a job created for me that increased my income by 50%. That has actually opened up the door to allow my wife and I to spend more time with each other. So I don't know where you are. I don't know if your relationship is super awesome. I don't know if your job is immaculate. I don't know if you're debt-free. But what I do know is if you're not any one of those things, your next step is to get plugged into DaniJohnson.com. Go on the website, get plugged into the community. I promise you, your life will never be the same.
And prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was a broke college student, drowning in debt, and I felt like the world was crashing all around me, and I had bad relationships. Since plugging into DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, I was able to pay off $6,600 in 4 months. Now I'm able to give 10% of my income to wherever my heart desires. I actually, using the skills that I learned from Dani, I actually landed a job before I graduated college, and I'm able to travel the world. All I know is if you're serious about annihilating your debt, traveling the world, helping people, and having fun doing so, I highly recommend you get registered for the next First Steps to Success. Do it now, don't wait, don't even thinking about it. If you're ready to change your life, just do it.
We went to our first ever First Steps to Success just 10 weeks ago, and it has definitely been life-changing ever since.
We felt like we got hit by a 2x4, but it was the best 2x4 because what we realized is that our priorities were clearly out of line. I had been building a home-based business and had been working 80 to 100 hours, and I realized that that is not my role, and that I had actually taken my husband's, and it was that realization that something had to change, and we immediately went home and changed everything. There was no hesitation. We said, you know what, we need to be obedient to God.
And we've implemented the tools day one. We started implementing what Dani taught us, invested in ourselves, invested in our kids, got our priorities in line. We've now actually paid off just not quite $60,000 in debt and looking at a couple more investments here as head of the household.
It's been absolutely incredible. So I just encourage you, if any of this speaks to you, if you're wanting to get out of debt, if you're wanting better communication, if you're wanting to elevate to the higher level of life, get to First Steps to Success and plug into DaniJohnson.com.
If you've ever wanted to make millions, change the world, be the voice for the voiceless, and have a blast doing it, then you need to spend some time with this lady right here. She's been doing it for years, and she'll show you how. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
So, I don't know where you're at in your life right now, but the fact is that if you are faithless, your marriage is lifeless. You're spending $1,000 a month. Actually, you're going $1,000 more in debt every single month. You could be making good money and your literal living expenses are low, but the money is bleeding out everywhere. Every time you and your spouse get together to talk about money, you fight like cats and dogs. You don't see an end to this prison. That's where Mary Starr, Dr. Mary Starr, found herself until she had a pivotal experience at First Steps to Success. So Mary, initially, right away, you paid off over $100,000 worth of debt. You had life put back in the marriage. You and Jay were not fighting anymore. He got a $30,000 yearly raise using the same exact techniques that healed the marriage, used the same exact techniques that helped to grow your business. You started to grow your income. Let's just talk about this last year. What has happened in this last year to your business, to your finances, and to the people you've brought along with you to that training event?
Wow. Yes. Thank you so much, Dani. So I would say this past year has been one of the most life-changing years for us. We have grown we just had $1 million in sales a month. Our team had $1 million in sales, our sales associates, this last November. We've grown in the past 2.5 years of coaching with First Steps to Success, Creating a Dynasty, Hot Marriage Secrets. We have grown our team and our revenue by $20,000, bringing about, in 2.5 years, 250 people, friends, sales associates, family members, coworkers, through that. And Dani, my husband, landed a job, an incredible job he loves, he's challenged by, increasing his income by $90,000 this past year. I mean, and $150,000 investments. I mean, it's unbelievable, what happens when you bring your business associates, your family, your friends to these events. I don't recognize my life. Dream vacations, spending weeks with my family this summer, like quality time, friendships, relationships, like real awesome friendships I have now. This past year has just been life-changing. And you said earlier about like learning about yourself. Yeah. This last year was really about learning who I was and understanding my personality, understanding what motivates me, because I was such a people pleaser and understanding everyone else. But this year it was about me. It was about getting deeper in my relationship with my Lord, and just, oh, wow.
And a mom, and as a mother. I mean, I remember the conversations that we had, like, wow. And you cut your hours back. What are your hours now?
I work 12 hours using Time Secrets, the program Time Secrets. I work 12 hours in my business a week. Yep. I homeschool my kids. I have quality times with them, and I have time left over for like projects and things that I really love and am passionate about.
Wow. So you guys have had your income has grown 10 times since you first plugged in 10 years ago.
When we started with you, we were earning $8,000 a month in business revenue. That was it. Now,
and none of that was profit.
No. Now, on average this year, we've grown $20,000 from that start. We'll hit $32,000 in revenue this month. My husband's making over 6 figures in another income and another job, his job. Plus we have investments. I mean, it's incredible. And not just our lives, like all these people. I have so many stories of friends and
Give me
family.
Give me one. Someone that you influenced to come to First Steps. I know it's more than 250 people. It has to be.
Oh, yeah. Total, I would say it's at least 350. Yeah.
It's more than that. It's more than that.
That I know of, but yeah, it could be way more than that. I think okay, let me tell you about Lisa. Lisa was a 50-plus-year-old woman. She was in a toxic relationship. She was so depressed. Her business was failing. After getting plugged in just one First Steps to Success and using the skills that over a year, she got rid of $60,000 in debt, got rid of the toxic relationship. Her business got on solid ground, making profits, and now she has cash flow assets as a single woman in her 50s with like her retirement set. I mean, how cool is that?
Wow. Yeah. And then I know that there was a homeless woman also.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many stories of different people who, like maybe Beth Serene, you're talking about. Beth was an incredible woman. She was single, plugging into these events. She not only got married over this past year and a half, she has a wonderful child. She's making more money on a whole lot less hours, and she lives in Aruba. So what's like our excuse if she can get to these events? I mean,
from Aruba. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. And then I know that there was another woman who, her and her husband, like, were flat broke. They were welfare recipients for like 20 years, and had a whole bunch they had 5 kids, and she was a homeschooling mom, and they were always suffering financially. She ended up writing a book. This also came from your influence.
Yeah, so many people that I can know that name and some that I don't even remember anymore. Kathy and her husband, for 7 years, I told them about First Steps to Success. And it got to the point that literally she had been handed divorce papers. They were separated divorce papers. And I begged her, please, please come for 7 years. But that point, she came. Their marriage is restored. They're living together. They're happy. They go on dates. They honor each other. It's incredible. Like, that one makes me cry all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yep. Because that was on the brink of it. That was like about to fail. Yeah, I know that you could tell me stories. In fact, every time we get together, you're telling me stories. You're always like, Dani, this happened to so-and-so. And this is because you, as a businesswoman and a child of God, reached out to the others you care about to let them know about a place where they could have a pivotal experience, be surrounded by an amazing supportive community, and get results. The results that you and your business associates, colleagues, friends, and family members have gotten. It's millions of dollars worth of debt that's been paid off. Millions of dollars worth of debt that's been paid off. You got a Krista Smith with 15 children that is today a millionaire, a part of the same group of people. I mean, this is shocking what happens when one life changes and they don't keep that change to themselves, but they care enough about other people to say, you gotta go to this thing. You gotta come to this event, First Steps. You just have to experience what happens in these 3 days. The next event, San Diego, California, January 19th, 20th, and 21st, you'll see Mary Starr there. She will be there, and she'll be there with her business associates. You got to see her face to face. In fact, get a chance to talk to her yourself. Ask her some of those nitty-gritty questions. She's a powerful story, but a peaceful woman with a heart of gold. I consider it so very blessed. My children love this woman. She actually was with us for a month. Due to a tragedy that happened in our family. She was a part of an incredible miracle. And Mary is used for great miracles all over the place. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show. Put the Dani Johnson Show to work for you by advertising your product or service. The Dani Johnson Show has tens of thousands of listeners who are just like you. People who need what you're offering but just don't know it yet. Savvy business owners and marketing directors advertise on the Dani Johnson Show. To promote your products and services on the Dani Johnson Show, email john@danijohnson.com or call 866-760-8255.
You want to succeed, right? But you do not want to fail God at the same time. There is a way to succeed from a biblical perspective, and it's far greater than anything you could ever imagine. Over 500 scriptures I studied to study money, everything that the Bible said about money. That's in the first couple chapters of Spirit-Driven Success. Not to mention leadership, working with people, growing a career, being used mightily in the marketplace, which is where Abraham, God used him in the marketplace. And Joseph, God used him in the marketplace. Moses, God used him in the marketplace. Daniel, Solomon, really all of the greats of faith, most of the greats of faith throughout the Bible, they all were in the marketplace, and God wants to show you how you can be used mightily by him in the marketplace. Right here, Spirit-Driven Success is where all of my notes are on how you can do that. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Spirit-Driven Success today. Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do with your life? Discover your own answer. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Bottom line, friend, wow, what a show, right? These two stories are so powerful. From a brand new, fresh person that just 2 years ago started tapping into the materials that we have available on our website, DaniJohnson.com. That's one N and an I, DaniJohnson.com. And listen, if it's your first time joining us, I would love to give you a free copy of First Steps to Wealth. This is the story of how I went from homeless to millions and giving millions of dollars away, taking no salary from my business, and I do not touch the profits. The profits are distributed between the government, the staff, and the poor. So anyway, if you want a free copy of the book, you pay the shipping to get it to your house, and we will send you the copy, $15 book, right to your mailbox. So that's Dani Johnson's First Steps to Wealth. Get your copy right now. The other thing I wanted to tell you is that we have started a new podcast. Have you seen it? Have you heard it? Hey, use your Android or your iPhone, whatever phone it is that you have. Download the app through, your app store on iTunes. Our podcast is on iTunes. You can get it through your Android or your iPhone. And please rate us and give us a review. Let us know how you're enjoying the show. And don't forget, we're here every day, actually, 7 days a week on the radio, 5 days a week on television, and 24/7 available on the World Wide Web. So if you come to DaniJohnson.com, you can actually watch the show straight from there. There's also a Dani Johnson app. You can listen to it from there, or again, listen to the podcast. We got lots of different ways where you can go ahead and get a hold of these types of shows. We've got a spiritual show every single week. We got a business show every week. We got a finance show every week, and a show about family, relationships. So if any of those things fit you, come on, join us tomorrow. We're going to bring you content that's going to challenge you and to challenge the status quo of success, and for you to learn what your definition of it is, for you to define your life for you, not letting anyone else tell you what it is. As you heard today, look at those other definitions that both Marys had. As they then learned a new way, now they're truly experiencing success in their life. And you can too, friend. You can too. No question about it. Please leave us a comment on today's program. So if you're watching this on our website, DaniJohnson.com, then please just scroll down. You can leave us a comment. Tell us how you enjoyed today's program, or if you hated it. Go ahead. If you want to be a negative Nelly, give it to me where it counts. Or if you're on YouTube, you can leave us a comment there. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Dani Johnson Live is our handle on those social media platforms. Come on over and meet this supportive, amazing community that is with us on those social media platforms. So, as it is for me right now, oh gosh, what an amazing day, right? I know I'm inspired. I hope you are. But listen, do what Mary does. Both Marys have shared this show for as long as they've been watching it or listening to it. Please do that now. There is someone else. Do you know that you may have a friend named Mary who's on the couch, drunk and hungover, who, is alone and not feeling like there's hope? Or you could be like the other Mary in a lifeless marriage who's like bleeding financially to the tune of $1,000 going into debt further every single month. There's someone you know. They're not telling you this. These two Marys didn't go around telling their friends, hey, this is what's going on. No way. So you can share this on social media, share the link, give people the opportunity to get inspired and change their life. We'll see you tomorrow.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DaniJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been The Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.